I've kept bees since I was about 11. My best friend at school and his father had bees. I was just sort of fairly enraptured by them, I suppose. The amazement and awe remains to this day. They're still incredible creatures, and every day is still a school day. I started with one hive. It was a baptism of fire. Now I have a lot more hives. It's a little bit like asking a lady her age. Beekeepers tend not to divulge how many hives, but it keeps me busy. There's a vast difference between proper honey, the sort of stuff that I produce, and, for example, supermarket honey. The majority of supermarket honey has been pasteurised and heat treated and fine filtered, and most of the goodies that the bees have put in there have been taken out or neutralised. Proper honey that hasn't been pasteurised has all sorts of benefits. There are antioxidants within it. It has anti-inflammatory properties, which people find helps them with hay fever. It has a calming effect on the sinuses, and it just generally, it is a superfood. I keep the honey from each site completely separate, so that whatever the bees make on one site, they'll have been working a particular variety of flower or tree. That honey is kept separate all the way through to the time that it's bottled. And they all retain an individual flavour and texture. There's borage, sea lavender, ivy blossom, apple blossom, spring blossom, sunflower, and quite a few more. I have a good amount of hives on Sandringham Estate. I generally try and find organic estates to put the bees on where possible, or then wilderness sites like the marshes in North Norfolk. You can eat it off the spoon, on toast, in a drink. If you're having it in a drink for health benefits, make sure the water's not too hot, otherwise you kill the enzymes that the bees put in there. Completely up to the individual. Everyone has their favourite way of doing it, but definitely eat it. That's the best thing to do. A lot of people love honey with cheese. I think Mrs. Temple has a blue cheese, Binham Blue, and she has that with the sea lavender honey, which is a very good pairing. I particularly love the ivy blossom honey with a really strong blue cheese, or a camembert that is almost ready to kill you. The ivy has a very wide, strong flavour profile, and somehow it just works really well with these strong cheeses. I think people do enjoy the variety. They're surprised at the variety. A lot of people, if they haven't had proper honey, just assume that honey tastes of honey in the similar way that the supermarket honey does. But then if they'll taste several of the different varieties, they are pretty gobsmacked by how completely different each one is, ranging from the subtleness of the borage through to the really sort of big, wide flavour profile of the ivy, and then everything in between them. Most good delis and farm shops in Norfolk and Suffolk will have it. It is available further afield in the Midlands and Hertfordshire and further south, and it's also available online through my website. I mean, a fairly standard feedback is it's the best honey I've ever had, which is always good to hear.